Welcome, everyone, to the member preview of the 2022 Milwaukee Film Festival. We're very excited to be back in person this year, while we also have virtual options as well, but it'll be great to see everybody in person again. So tonight, I'm going to introduce you to our beloved programmers. They're the ones that choose all the films you're going to see at the fest. So if you don't like a film, that's their fault. If you do like a film, for whatever reason, it is my doing. I think we all agreed to that. Just kidding. They do all the good work to get these great films on the screen for you. So they're going to tell you their favorites coming up. But before we start, I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone for being a member and for keeping your support going during a very difficult time for everyone. We really, truly appreciate it. Not only does your membership have a bunch of great benefits, as you know, but it supports Milwaukee Film's efforts in the community, from our education programs that serve over 60,000 kids in the public schools, but also it supports keeping the historic and beautiful Oriental Theater in the best shape ever, support for filmmaking culture in the city, and it provides the largest variety of voices and perspectives on films from across the country, across the world, and right here in Milwaukee. So all that stuff that we are able to do, we are able to do it because of you, and we all thank you very, very much. Yay! Now I'll give you a minute to dry your eyes. That was very emotional. Now we're going to get started with all the recommendations. And to start us off with the first recommendation of the evening is our fearless film leader of programming and the festival in general is Kara Ogburn. Kara!
Thanks, Christopher. As Christopher mentioned, we really are excited to return back to the cinema with all of you, bring filmmakers in to connect with you. And we are not going to nearly scratch the surface of the great films in this year's lineup. There are hundreds of films beyond the ones that we talk about today. And because I know you're already checking out our opening night and our closing night films, and Christopher has probably already talked about the Cinebeds live presentation of The Thing on 35 millimeter ad nauseum in your email, I won't talk about those. I want to dig deeper into our documentaries. And this year's slate has maybe more than usual of the quirky documentaries that really are full of heart, right? So these are documentaries that are maybe stranger than fiction, but ultimately kind of leave you feeling inspired, recognizing common humanity, and getting to know people a little bit deeper, even though there's definitely hilarious moments in each of these. There's a number of these that you can look for in your program: The Pez Outlaw, Cannon Arm and the Arcade Quest, Cat Daddies, and Set. That's me attempting to say an exclamation point at the end of that film title. But the film I want to talk about a little more length this evening is Calendar Girls. Calendar Girls is a documentary about a dance troupe of women of a certain age in Florida. And you are going to be super jazzed about their costumes, about their attention to their performance. And you might be boogieing in your seat a little bit as you hear some of your favorite hits from many decades on screen. This is a film that, in addition to sort of celebrating their creativity and their joy, also really explores aging and femininity in really thoughtful ways while still being incredibly relatable, I think, to all audiences. So let's roll that trailer.
When you're 18 or 28 or even 38, everyone pays attention to you. And then just one day, it suddenly stops and you're invisible.
I can remember thinking, when I turn 50, I'm gonna be old and I'm just gonna eat ice cream all day long because I won't have to worry about my weight anymore. Who cares when you're that old?
I know that when I get to age 85, if I get there, I'm taking all the mirrors down, all of them. I don't want to see anything.
Sometimes I think that we transform ourselves. That when we put on the outfits and stockings and, it's like a superhero kind of thing.
If I have something on that I really think looks good, I feel amazing. Especially when you get older. It's just, because it's so hard some days.
Can you wait to see that film? It's so good. I'll see you at that screening, and I'm going to pass the mic to Dr. Dante McFadden, our Black Lens programmer. Dante?
Thank you, Dr. Kara Ogburn. She mentioned that there's a slate of documentaries worth showing for the 2022 Milwaukee Film Festival, and I'm going to talk about one of them. It's called One Pint at a Time, directed by Aaron Jose. So it's needless to say that Milwaukee is one of the global beer capitals, and I bet you didn't know that it was once the site of a Black-owned brewery called People's Brewery some decades ago. However, as a programmer, I believe in showing films that I think audiences can always benefit from the history that will leave them intellectually nourished and also thirsting for a pint. And this is where One Pint at a Time delivers. And so there are 1% of craft breweries in America that are Black owned. However, with this documentary, it turns that statistic into a series of stories, and it highlights the entrepreneurs who are shifting the perception of not only who consumes craft beer, but also who makes it. And so I'd like to transition into the trailer right now.
Many people don't realize that beer started in African continents long before the Europeans even got there. You think about how life was centuries ago when women were in the kitchen. They were the ones making the beer. African traditions in terms of brewing processes and techniques were lost in translation because of slavery. We weren't able to practice. As we got to the States and we became free, we were able to start doing things that we felt were ours. But at the same time, we have to think about the process of business owning or opening up shop somewhere.
You know, we're talking about late 1960s and the 1970s. Schools aren't done segregating in the United States. A Black man or a woman aren't walking into a bank and getting a startup loan for such a venture at the time. One of the unfortunate consequences of craft beer is that there's almost like this anybody can do it if they wanted to idea that's always been embedded in this narrative, and that's simply not true.
I tell people all the time, we as Black folks, people of color, we consume a lot of stuff. But what do we own? We're getting what, less than 0.2% of $1 billion industry? That's not right. Not on my watch.
When I first got into the craft beer scene, even as a consumer, the lack of diversity was ridiculous. In the beginning, I didn't feel so welcome. You know, the fact that it took me almost 4 or 5 years of applying to get in the industry, that didn't make me feel good. I just feel like we have to prove ourselves a lot more, Black and brown people.
This journey is not just about beer. You know, the beer is just one side of it. There are a lot of other elements of the company that we look to facilitate. One is controlling the narrative that, you know, Black people don't drink beer. Black people have always had a hand in producing beer, but, you know, ultimately that's been robbed of the narrative, and we look to be not the only company that's in operation that's bringing that back, but just one company that's happened to be doing it a different way, particularly in the South.
We want to make our mark. We want to make our mark. We want to just really get this product out. We need to take this industry and we need to include. This needs to be inclusive. I think it's time in this country that we rise.
Wonderful. And so I hope that has you hopping for not only to see this film, but to see the slate of films throughout the Black Lens program and throughout our many programs within the Milwaukee Film Festival. Speaking of which, one of them is our celebrated Cine Scene Fronteras program. And I would like to go ahead and introduce the programmer, who is based at our satellite office in Phoenix, Arizona, Ernie Quiros. Ernie, take it away.
Hey, thank you, Dr. Dante. I'm breaking the streak. I am not a doctor, but keeping the streak alive for promoting documentaries here in the Phoenix office where it's only 113 degrees. I am proud of the slate that I've been able to come up detailing the Latinx experience from all over North and South America, including the wonderful documentary that I want to talk about, What We Leave Behind. Unfortunately, there is no trailer at this time. Maybe there will be one by the time you see this or by the time the festival rolls around. I would urge you to check it out. So I will talk a little bit about the documentary itself. It's by a first-time filmmaker, Ileana Sosa, who is a Texas native, and it is about her father, her grandfather, I should say, who for about 80 years has been making a monthly journey from his hometown in rural Mexico to visit his family this side of the U.S. border in El Paso and in Albuquerque. And so it works on two levels. It is once a love letter to her grandfather, but it also looks at the evolving ideas of immigration and what it means to be an American over the last 50 years through the lens of her grandfather, and sort of how immigration policy has changed and sort of how that's changed his relation with this country. But really, again, it's about the family and sort of how the family lives on both sides of a border. And despite the fact that there is this border, that their family is stronger and united more than ever. So, like I said, no trailer for that one as of yet. Keep an eye out for one. But two films that I do want to mention, one tangentially related to Cine Scene Fronteras, two trailers I want to sneak in here for films that really need to be seen on the big screen. These are films that are really immersive experience, one with sound, one with sight. So the first one with sound is called Memoria by a director who name I will not say. We call him Joe. This is a film that you definitely need to see on the big screen. I'm excited to see it at the OT. And then the film that deals with sight, this also is a winner of the best title in the film festival. That is The Blind Man Who Did Not Want to See Titanic. Like I said, both films are really immersive experiences of what it means to watch film on the big screen. So let's roll those trailers right now.
It's like a rumble from the core of the earth. Bang! And then it shrinks.
This is probably 6,000 years old.
A hole.
Yes, drilled into her head to release bad spirits.
Kello on 9.00. Ota relaksantit.
Mä voisin kaahata Aston Martinilla tai rakastella Chewbaccaa Millennium Falconissa, mutta mä vaan juoksentelen paikasta A paikkaa A.
Onks sä päässyt jo liikkeelle?
Rollaattorilla mä täällä kolistelen. Ehditäänköhän me näkee ennen kuin jompikumpi meistä kuolee?
Mulla on suunnitelma. Mä tuun sun luo.
Oot sä tosissas?
Mä en oo koskaan ollut näin tosissaan.
Herää, kuva sun kuvasi henkiin herätä. Yltä syöksejä hengissä kulje.
No niin, vammanen. Sit sä annat meille pankkikortin tunnukset ja sit sä pääset menemään.
Liikulla laula lävistä kuolemaa.
Sä oot kyllä ihan hauska jätkä.
Niinku vammaiseksi.
No niin, vammaiseksi.
Mä ehdotan nyt jotain, mikä voisi muuttaa sun unet aika kosteiksi. Katso Titanic.
Sirpa saa!
Hey, I'm excited for both of those, to see them on the big screen, like I said, as films are meant to be seen, and excited to be back in person at the Oriental Theater, and my first time will to be in Milwaukee from the satellite office in Phoenix. So anyway, thank you so much, and now I want to throw it over to our programming director for cinemas, Anna.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Ernie. As Ernie said, I'm Anna Sampers, the programming director for cinemas. And my recommendation for the festival is You Are Not My Mother. This film is directed by Kate Dolan in her feature debut, and it is part of the Cinema Hooligante program. So if you're not a hooligan at heart, this film is not for you. Look away for several minutes and rejoin us soon. But full disclosure, I have not seen this film, but I'm very excited to, based on the trailer, which is appropriately scary. I don't know what it is about Ireland. It's a lovely country, but they make incredibly chilling horror films. And I have very high hopes for this one to carry on that tradition. But you don't have to take my word for it. Let's roll the trailer.
We're still trying to figure out what happened. When did you last hear from her?
She left to bring her to school.
Is everything okay? Has she gone missing before?
Not in a long time.
Ma'am? I heard about your mom. Is she all right?
Hey.
Doesn't feel right.
I think we should go away. Just the two of us.
I think you should take it easy at the moment.
Mom, where did you go?
I can't tell you. Not yet.
What's wrong with you?
There's things I need to tell you, Shar. It's not your mother up there. If we don't do something, we'll never get her back. And then they'll try to take you.
Dance with me, Shar.
Mom, stop.
Shar.
How is your mom?
So scary. I'm so excited. And with that, it is my pleasure to pass it on to Kirsten.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Anna, my fellow programming director. I am the programming director of festivals, and I also programmed You Are Not My Mother. So I can say that it is, in fact, a great movie and very spooky. And like, I don't know what's going on in Ireland. Good stuff, in my opinion. But I want to tell you about the movie Memory Box, which we have in our newly and probably temporarily dubbed North American Independence Program, because we wanted to include some Canadian movies in there. There's Mexican movies as well, and because there's just a lot of good stuff to go around, so we wanted to pile it on. So Memory Box is a Canadian movie set in Montreal. It's about a mother and a daughter who receive a giant package in the mail that is full of memories. You guessed it. And so it's full of pictures and tapes and music from the mom's past when she was growing up in Lebanon in the 1980s. And the mom does not want to deal with it. She's like, oh, don't worry about that. We'll just hide it all away. But the daughter is like, no, I'm going to go check it out. So she digs it up out of the basement and is looking at all these pictures and reading diaries and learning more about her mom when she was her age, which is really sweet. It's a very nice intergenerational tale. And it's also very amazing in how it sort of uses like a multimedia experience where it like makes the pictures come to life, and they're like a beautiful montage sort of flip book type thing. It's really cool, has some good retro 1980s music in it, which I always love, and I think parents and youths alike will enjoy it. So let's check out that trailer.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. J'ai un colis pour Maya Sanders.
Oui, c'est ma mère.
C'est pas pour nous.
C'est quoi tout ça?
C'est des cahiers que j'écrivais quand j'étais encore au Liban à une amie qui était partie vivre en France.
Lisa, بتخيل شو صار قصة. هيدا اللي عم بيسوق كتير حلو اسمه رجب. Je reconnais pas ma mère. Elle a tellement changé. Parce que tu fais les cahiers de ta mère, ça va te rendre folle. ليلتها تبكي تعطيل. بيروت عم تتدمر أكتر وأكتر.
Je t'avais interdit de toucher à mes cahiers.
C'est ma faute, tu dis jamais rien. Raja, son amie Lisa à la guerre, elle m'en a jamais parlé. Tout ce que tu dis, c'est des mensonges. Toute ta vie, c'est un mensonge. Raconte-moi ce qui se passe. J'ai besoin de savoir.
Je sais plus ce qui est vrai. Où ça commence. Comment je termine les choses.
Every mind, there's a place made of all.
So I hope you liked that trailer and you come check it out in the festival. But I have the distinct pleasure of handing off the mic to everybody's favorite kids and teen programmer, Marielle Alshron.
Thanks so much, Kirsten. I have a few films from our Rated K for Kids program to talk to you about. The nice thing about Rated K is that it has treasures for children of all ages. I will start with a film called Salvador Dali in our Kids Shorts Size Large program. It's a directorial debut from Eldiyar Madakim from Kyrgyzstan. It's just a very gorgeously shot live action narrative with sartorial and natural splendor on a level that I have not seen since The Secret Garden, multicolored baby goats included. The protagonist is a young boy living in the mountains, going to school and discovering
his passion for art, which is nurtured by his grandmother and educators and his surroundings. It's a cinematic, quietly stunning slice of life that I'm really excited to share with audiences of all ages, especially on the big screen. So please check that out. Bring your family. And the feature that I wanted to talk about today is from Lithuania's award-winning filmmaker Inesa Kirklaitite. She's created a world that is very real, yet a little magical and quite beautiful and imaginative and vulnerable too. It's a very delicately rendered live-action narrative feature. It's called A Butterfly's Heart. And we follow the story of a 10-year-old boy who's also a budding entomologist named Ioazepas. And he was born with a heart that is outside of his chest, and he survived, but is kind of having trouble with feeling excluded by the sort of neighboring community in the town. But when Rugila arrives, she's sort of the fearless new girl in town, and their friendship is very transformative for both of them. So as you'll see in the trailer, the set design in this film is something out of a dream, and the film, like its protagonist, has a very big exposed heart. So here is that trailer. Enjoy.
Nori būti gamtininku, turi eiti į mokyklą. Ar supranti?
Kur eini, balionas? Varėkit čia!
O kodėl tu vysta berniukas su pūstu megztiniu?
Tai kad trenktas esi kažkoks.
Labas.
Labas.
Kodėl tu nekalbi?
Kalbu. Beje, Rugilė irgi eis 4 klasę.
Matai, susipažinai su klasiokė.
Kas čia? Čia vabalų viešbutis. Oho, kaip galima rūpintis tokiam šlikštynėm? Čia lyg ir minai. Aš turiu ir drugelį.
Žabagraužė, ledų nori.
O visi žmonės panašus į vabalus. Visi.
Ak, parazyta! Žiūrėk, tu gal atsargiau iš viso, nu? Duotų neišdėl kiekvieną nusiplazdai.
Tik neskubėk, tavęs prašau.
Tada tu atneši laimę ir į mūsų namą. Viskas bus gerai. Pamatysi.
Kilki aukštyn ir skleisk svarbios.
Aš turiu paslaptį. Pažadi niekam nesakyti. Tu ypatingas.
And that again is A Butterfly's Heart. Please check it out, and I will pass it back to Christopher.
Thank you, Marielle. You had me at baby goats. Man, that is right up my alley. I love a baby goat. That was wonderful. Thank you so much to the programmers. We're going to do a little bit more because I do want to quickly offer up my own recommendation, if I may. I loved the film Hit the Road. And now we showed that. A lot of you have seen it because it was a member screening in February. You got a little festival preview. But I absolutely adore that movie. It's already on my top 10 list for the year. I'm sure it's going to make it to the end. But it is a hilarious road trip family movie. And it's very touching. It's very funny. It has just these moments of magical filmmaking in it. The kid in this movie should be in every movie I see from now on. I just want him to be in all movies. He is a scene stealer. So I highly, highly recommend that. And then also, sadly, our genrequeer and shorts programmer, Jack Feria, could not be here today, but he would heartily encourage me to tell you, check out our genrequeer films and our shorts programs. They are phenomenal. So we have some amazing selections there. So it's a lot of recommendations. Can we bring all of our programmers back to say hi? Hi, everybody. Hello. So what I want to do, a little bit like last year, I want to do a little free-for-all. I'm just going to throw out some questions about some of the films, and I want you to just shout out your recommendations. So the first thing I want to know is whether they're happy tears or sad tears, what film is going to require tissues this year? Anybody?
Nowhere Special, 100%.
Nowhere Special?
You will cry so hard.
Perfect.
In a good way, but also a sad way if you're into that kind of thing.
Anybody else?
Scarborough. Scarborough had me crying like sloppy tears at the end. Spoiler alert, little kid sings a song and you can't go wrong. A Whitney Houston song. Can't go wrong with that.
Kara,
I've got 3 and they all have like family relationship names in the titles. So this is how you'll remember them. Mama Bears, Daughter of a Lost Bird, and Anonymous Sister.
All those are going to require tissues?
Yep.
All right. What about cat daddies? I know it doesn't seem, I feel like the moment I see a man cradling a cat, I'm going to burst into tears.
I mean, if that's how you respond to men cradling cats, then absolutely. Absolutely.
It's when I cradle my cat, it is. What about a funny film? What's a good funny film for people to check out?
I would say Queen of Glory by Nana Mensah. So some people may be familiar with her from the Netflix series The Chair that starred Sandra Oh. And she was actually in a film that was featured in Black Lens in the 2020 Milwaukee Film Festival, Farewell Amore. And in this film, she writes, directs, and stars. And it's about a woman who's coming into her own after a series of family events shift her plans. She's a STEM-based doctoral student at Columbia University. She's in a relationship with this guy who is estranged from his wife. Just got a job to go to Ohio, but however, going back to the family part, her mother dies, and she is bequeathed this Christian bookstore in the Bronx. And just as she's coming to figure out how to run this bookstore, her estranged father from Ghana appears out all of a sudden. And so, it's just a series of events of this woman just trying to make sense of everything that's going on in her life, but also trying to make sense of herself and what she wants. So that's Queen of Glory.
Queen of Glory. All right. And we got any other funny films out there?
You want to hear me say an exclamation point again? Set!
Please.
Exclamation point. This is a film about competitive table setting. I'll leave it there.
Sold.
And I would also say that Cha Cha Real Smooth is a funny one that you should definitely check out. And I won't tell you more about it because the title alone should sell you on it.
What's the title again?
Cha Cha Real Smooth.
That is a good title. All right, let's do one more. What is a good film that's good for the whole family? A sweet family film.
I'll take this one.
Yeah.
Micah. Micah's great. Icarus and the Minotaur is beautiful. In addition to the other rated K for kids films.
If you've got kids who are interested in science or who you want to be interested in science, technology, and math and STEM topics, Zero Gravity might get them pretty stoked about coding. And if they love animals, I'd recommend The Velvet Queen.
That sounds good. Any others? All the shorts programs are phenomenal. All the Cine Center for Terrace, all the Black Lens, all the documentaries. Uh-oh, I've started something. Now I have to remember all of them. All the world. All of the...
Yeah, speaking of the Blackland shorts.
Blackland shorts.
All I'll say is it's all about love. It's our we're calling it Black Love Through Blackland. So love in
Those are
any
always
way
good
you
ones.
could think of. We got a short about it.
Thank you for stopping me before I had to remember all the programs without looking, because that was just going to be a disaster.
Sorry about that.
Thanks everybody for coming out and checking out some great recommendations from our wonderful programmers. A big round of applause for you. And thanks for your support. And we look forward to seeing you at the festival. Take care, everybody.
See you at the festival.